This video is an excerpt from our weekly podcast. Go and watch the full podcast, check the link in the description of this video, or support us on Patreon at patreon.com/prettygoodgaming.
Outriders makes me want to kill myself.
Frustrated this week, right?
So last week, I think it was last week, I was sort of flip-flopping between Narita Boy, which I love, it's fantastic, and the more I think about it, I'm like, so far this year, we're only in April, so it's not too deep, but so far this year, that's probably the game I've enjoyed the most. So if you want to talk Game of the Year, to me, the game I've enjoyed the most probably should be Game of the Year. It's currently Narita Boy. Like is it Outriders? I want to die. It's pissing me off, and I've not written this as a segment because I kind of just want to just let it go, just let it wash over me.
Let it all out, Henry, let it all out.
Before I get too annoyed, I'm going to say, I really like the gunplay. I really like the moment-to-moment stuff of shooting and firing off magic powers. I'm playing as a pyromancer, which in case you haven't played the game, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. They use fire attacks and sort of summons and sending waves of fire or plumes of volcanoes and stuff out from at people's feet, that sort of stuff. That's all great when it freaking works, when I'm not trying to fight through 10 to 40 frames per second in the middle of not anything. It's not a high energy scene. It's not particularly demanding. It's just, let's just slow everything right down. So you can't hit a fucking target you're trying to shoot. And it's so inconsistent. So on the weekend, I was furious. I was really raging. And I think I just gave up, walked away from the computer. I was like, I'm not playing anything. I'm just going to leave. And
Rage quit.
Yeah, I just need to, get games off my brain for a few minutes. Then I played it again on Monday. Complete breeze. I had a fantastic time. I even played a little bit in multiplayer with some people. It went reasonably well. It wasn't with friends. It was just randos. That was that was fun. It's a co-op game. It should be played in co-op, and I've got opinions on that. Let me tell you. Come to Tuesday, complete disaster again. Everything stops working properly, connection dropping in and out. The frame rate in the lobby is so appalling, and I have no idea why. I've changed all of the settings. I've increased things outside of the game, like assigning priority and disabling antiviruses and all that, I've tried virtually everything, and it's just all over the place. And then, again, come to yesterday, it was kind of hit and miss. Sometimes it was really good. I was like, up to, 100 odd frames. I was like, yeah, this is good. I'm having a good time. And then out of nowhere, let's just go back to 20. See what happens. See if you can hit this guy you're trying to shoot, even though we're throwing 4,000 enemies at you at once, because my god, the game is so poorly balanced for one person. Jesus Christ. Playing it on my own, I've mostly played it by myself. And it is better in co-op, but I've not got any, my friends to play. I've got no friends to play with. I'm so alone. But I don't think it's well balanced for single solo play at all. The difficulty works in terms of world tiers, which is very, very similar to Diablo, if any viewers have played that. Increase the difficulty of the environment, which will in turn increase the likelihood you'll get better loot, essentially. That's the trade-off. And you can set it to automatically knock up the world tier as you progress. You basically gain experience, and then you can go to the next one. It's a little bit harder. I think I'm on world tier 8 at the moment, and I'm level 20 something with my character. It's not difficult in the sense of enemies are challenging and they have different strategies and you've got to think about it. It's just they send 100 at you at once with so many grenades. It's a cover shooter where you shouldn't play it like a cover shooter at all. I've seen a few different articles talking about this and I 100% agree. It looks a bit like Gears of War. Gears of War with magic powers. And to an extent, yes, that is true. But if you're sitting in cover, you're going to get annihilated because they will just throw grenades at you. They will sort of flank you, but it's not like a tactical flank. They will just come and stand next to you and just start hosing you with whatever their biggest gun is.
Each character regenerates health by being close to the enemies, right? So if you stand off, you can't. There's
slightly different
heal
methods for each of them, yeah. And one of my abilities I keep with this pyromancer, he basically sends out this fiery tentacle and draws health from them, and they also freeze. I don't mean freeze in ice because that's a different character's ability. They just kind of turn to stone, sort of. So that's useful, and all of the powers in different ways are really useful. For ages, I swore off this ability, which is called volcanic rounds or volcaic rounds. I can't remember which one. And basically turns your bullets into fire. And I was like, well, I don't really need that because I'm already setting everyone on fire. What advantage does this have? But then I saw I had a mod that I could apply to one of my guns, and all of that mod stuff is really great. You can add a lot of personalization to it and build your character the way you want. I like that a lot. So I found this one which basically turns those rounds into armor shredding rounds, and that is so useful. And then I found another ability which means it lasts longer and you can stack an extra magazine. That was great. All of that's really, really good. And then it's no, you're going to play at 35 frames per second and you're going to fucking hate it. And I just can't deal with it. That's if I can even get into a fucking game with the connectivity issues.
Wow.
And
Listen to
there's
him.
a solo game. I don't want to play with nobody else most of the time. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Although on that note, yesterday I was at it wasn't a boss fight, it was just like an arena, and there were so many enemies. And I could drop the world tier down, but I'm too proud and stubborn to try to admit to myself that I will do that. So I was like, okay, let's matchmake. Let's see if I can find some pals to give me a bit of extra firepower. Same world tier, same everything. And instead, I joined one, which it says you will join at the same story point that you're at in your world. That totally didn't happen. I mean, maybe they were at that story point, but that's not where they were in the world. The world's not open, but it's a series of, not hubs, but kind of hubs. Like, they're very, very small. There's a few corridors you can go down, and they all have that little side questy things you can pick up. And they're sequential. You spend a little bit of time in one, then move straight on to the next one, and you can go back. Sometimes there's extra stuff. Yeah, and it just dropped me right back to like the third one, and these guys were just doing side quest cleanup, and I'm like, that's cool. Like, you do that. I mean, I like a bit of side quest. I've done quite a few, and I've kind of sworn them off now because I want to do more story stuff. But I want to be where I am. I want to be fighting the fight I want to fight, not in the arsehole of nowhere. And for a while I was like, okay, fine, I'll just do this fight. It took freaking ages, because it was hard. That was a hard fight. I think it was on a world tier 11 maybe, which was far above my capabilities and my loot and everything, but we managed it. Although, speaking of the world tiers, there was one fight which was a boss, and I won't spoil who it is because it's a bit of a story thing, and at around the halfway point the story gets, well, I'm not going to say significantly more interesting, but it does get more interesting, because until that point it's just go here, do this, assemble a team of people with horrific haircuts. My goodness. There's a running joke that I've got bad hair on this channel, but my god, at least I don't look like one of the guys in Outriders.
Wow.
Then there's this boss fight, and we were fighting the boss, fighting it by myself, and I was like, Jesus, this is hard. They are like on my ass the entire time. Quit out, came back in, and it actually worked. Actually got someone else to come in at the point I was in. It was a bloody miracle. But they were on world tier 10, and I was like, oh, I'm not really ready for this. I'm only on like 6 or 7, something like that. And we smashed it. We annihilated it just because there was 2 of us. I just think it's so poorly balanced for a single player experience, and because it's a stupid, modern, not AAA game, but from a big publisher, Square Enix is who published it, you have to be online all the time. So my internet connection is very up and down, especially because my girlfriend lives here as well, so she's using half the internet half the time. Out of nowhere, you're just like, yeah, no, you're disconnected. Sorry, boss. Like, game over. You were fighting that boss, that big, giant, ugly-ass monster, and your frame rate was tanking, and you're having a real hard time just because of performance issues. Don't care. Doesn't matter. Fortunately, my inventory hasn't been wiped. What I spawned in, I thought it had, because he showed up in his pajamas or his underwear, like his t-shirt and pants. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I was about to lose my mind. But fortunately, it just popped back in. It popped back in, and I was like, okay, rein it in. Wow. Calm yourself down. It's not total dog shit frame rate at the moment. It's a solid 60-ish. So that's about all I can hope for. But I'm trying, man. It's a review copy, so I need to review it at some point. And I'm trying. But I'm really having to force myself through it. Put it this way. If I wasn't reviewing it, or intending to review it in some form, this might just be my review. Who knows? Haven't decided yet how much more I can tolerate. If I wasn't playing it for review, I would have stopped by now. Because it is fun. It is fun. It can be a lot of fun, especially if you've got a good team, but it's not fucking ready. I think, I haven't watched his review, but Skill Up put up, it's on the thumbnail or the title or something. It's like, I'll recommend this when it's finished, because it sure as shit ain't finished yet, and that's exactly how I feel. It's so almost there. You just give it more time. I think it was delayed anyway. It was meant to come out last year in 2020, and they've knocked it to
the end of last year, yeah.
And man,
it was originally announced for the end of last year. Sorry, I'm not trying to knock you off your stride here. Keep going.
I'm about to fall off my own stride because I'm running out of energy to just complain. And I'm trying to bring my brain back around it when I'm ranting. I'm like, no, it is fun. I like shooting stuff. Shooting stuff's really, really fun. I like using magic powers. I like being able to set people on fire, then just run up to them and nail them in the face with whatever I've got. Although, side note, this isn't anything to do with Outriders specifically. Is there anyone, please let me know in the comments, is there anyone in the world who likes burst fire weapons? I can't stand them. Just give me semi-auto or fully auto. I hate burst fire. Do people like it? Do people use it? I can do that myself. I don't need 3-round burst, and it's like, oh, you've got 20 rounds. No, I don't, because you fire 3 at a time. Although 20 doesn't make sense because it doesn't even divide by 3. I'm losing my mind so much.
Well, I've got to congratulate you on that like scintillating rant there, Henry. It went over 10 minutes easily, and you hardly waited for breath. I just like some of the out of context clips from that rant. It was just they were just brilliant. Well done, Henry. But Outriders, there you go. It wasn't scripted, but Henry, you know, he's.
I've been stewing. I've
proud,
been thinking about it all week. Like,
And he's
can you just
unleashed.
behave? Because you're really good. Well, maybe not really good, but you're pretty good. Exactly for this channel. It's like a solid 7 out of 10 kind of thing. And they get the shooting and what it needs to do right. The story's pretty shit even at this point, and it's just picking up. But I'm like, yeah, there's still not really much going on. Yeah. But the performance issues are doing my brain in. I can't cope much longer, and I would have stopped if I wasn't trying to review it.
Thanks for watching this video. If you want to go and watch the full podcast, head to the description of this video and you'll find a link to our new podcast channel, or head over to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming and get early access.